Disclaimer. You are about to watch a certified szvmek video. Exposure to such content may result in seizures, strokes, severe brain damage, and an unmatched love for OTT. Viewer discretion is advised.
Time. One of the few things that you'll never have enough. It's also one of the few things that you can't stop no matter what. Matter of fact, 9 seconds have already passed and you didn't even notice it. So what do you do when you can't stop it? Of course, you optimize the amount of time spent on whatever you're doing. How? By speeding up your workflow, learning FL Studio Shortcut. Did I just speak about a serious philosophical phenomenon just to compare it to FL Studio? Yeah. Do I care? Not a single bit. FL Studio shortcuts are essential for moving around the program. Utilizing them makes a huge difference in the time you spend doing anything really, whether it's opening a mixer track, switching selected piano roll track, or even arrangement. Really, the list goes on and on and on and on and on and... Also, quick note, all shortcuts in this video are for Windows because that's what I use, sorry Mac users. But I'll leave a link in the description with all the Mac equivalents so we can still follow along. Let's start with the F keys because they actually do a few neat things. F4 creates a new pattern, F5 toggles the playlist, F6 opens the channel rack, which is basically where you load all your plugins and drums, F7 opens the piano roll, F9 opens the mixer so we can finally stop clicking these tiny buttons every 5 seconds, F11 opens the project info tab, where you can add metadata to your track, and F12 closes every open window. This one is actually super useful if your PC is not the best and it's constantly fighting for its life, because keeping a bunch of plugins open absolutely destroys performance. And you might not even realize this, but unless you manually close the window from the plugin, it stays open in the background and it is consuming resources. So especially if you're working on a big project, press F12 from time to time just to reset the workflow. And if you don't have F keys, well, that's rough, buddy. Moving on to the main shortcuts. Ctrl+S of course saves your project, and trust me, use this one constantly because FL Studio will eventually crash at the worst possible moment. I know that auto backups exist, but they only happen every few minutes, which is more than enough time to lose something important. Ctrl+N will save a new version of your project. This is amazing when you want to experiment without ruining your current version. Ctrl+R quickly exports a WAV file. Ctrl+Shift+R exports an MP3. And Ctrl+Shift+M will export a MIDI file. Simple enough. Now, let's actually talk about the channel rack. Ctrl+left click solos the selected channel, as shown here. Shift+left click locks the current state of a channel. So if something is muted, it stays muted, and if something is enabled, it stays enabled even while soloing other sounds. Very helpful if you're using something like layers and you just want to experiment. Also, copying and pasting in a file can be weird sometimes. If you copy something from the channel rack, you can only paste it into another channel rack slot. Same thing with the piano roll, you can't paste piano roll notes into the channel rack. It's kinda messy, but it kinda also does make sense, but it also doesn't. Another useful one. Hold Ctrl and drag across the channels to select multiple instruments. Then press Ctrl+L to automatically route every selected sound to its own mixer track. Speaking of the mixer, hold Ctrl and drag across mixer inserts to select multiple tracks at once. This makes routing them to buses or effect channels way faster. Now onto the playlist, which is where you'll probably save the most time. Important thing first. If typing keyboard to piano is enabled, half of your shortcuts will not work because your keyboard turns into a MIDI keyboard. So if shortcuts randomly stop working, that's probably why. L will switch between song mode and pattern mode. Song mode plays the entire arrangement and pattern mode only plays the selected pattern. Space starts playback, groundbreaking information. I know, but I had to include it. Hold Alt while moving clips to temporarily disable snapping. Super useful when something is slightly off grid and slowly driving you insane. Ctrl A selects everything on the playlist. Ctrl B duplicates your selection instantly. Hold Ctrl and left click to create a selection. Add Shift if you want to add or remove things from that selection. And if you already selected something, hold Shift and drag it out to instantly duplicate it. Here's another really underrated one. Hover over the place you want to cut, and then press Insert on your keyboard. Instant split without switching tools. And finally, double right click and hold it. This temporarily will turn your cursor into the mute tool, letting you mute clips insanely fast without constantly switching between tools. Right click on the dot near a track to solo this track, right click again to unmute everything. Shift left click to lock the track to its current state. Super useful when you have automations because they will never break when soloing a different track. It's It's time for the piano roll. Most FL Studio shortcuts are universal, meaning they work the same way across different parts of the program. So once you learn them in one place, you can basically use them everywhere. As I said, Ctrl plus drag lets you make a selection, and Shift lets you drag and duplicate that selection. It works the same in piano roll as it does in the playlist. But the piano roll also has some extra tools that I personally use all the time. Let's focus on hi-hats and make some quick rolls. First, create your pattern, then select the section where you want your roll to be. Now, navigate to the control panel and use velocity and fine pitch. Velocity lets you fade notes in or out like this, and fine pitch lets you slightly shift the pitch of each note. So you can easily create rolls that go up or down in pitch without manually tweaking every single note. Ctrl plus Q will snap your notes to the nearest grid. This is super useful when recording with a MIDI keyboard and you don't feel like manually fixing every note afterward. Ctrl plus L or Alt plus L will adjust the length of selected notes to match the nearest note division. Ctrl plus arrow up or down moves notes up or down by an octave, and Shift plus up or down moves them by a single semitone. So if your melody sounds terrible, you can now make it sound terrible in every key much faster. Were you speedrunning but you found out that one note is not good enough? Why go for the hassle of opening a channel rack and then piano roll from the lead? Just enable ghost notes and double right click on the note that bothers you. You now switch the piano roll track to the instrument that played the note. And I think that's it. I know that it's quite a lot to handle for a complete beginner, but trust me, implement these shortcuts over the span of weeks into your muscle memory and your workflow will become much smoother. If there's anything worth mentioning that I forgot about, make sure to write it down in the comment section down below so that you can help others too. I'll gather everything that I can into a single pinned comment so it's easy to find. The whole list of shortcuts is available in the description, so definitely check it out as well. And if you enjoyed this video, I'll be glad if you liked and subscribed. Check out my stellar Serum Bank, and if your Spotify playlist needs some work, check out this stellar album. Links are also in the description. See you in the next one, bye bye!